Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second weekend of the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships for 2021. It's good of you to join us. If any of you were here the first weekend, we had a real roller coaster of a weekend, some fantastic bands. And this evening, we will be looking at 11 university brass bands. It's a new section that we've added to the competition this year, and we are presenting the university section this evening in partnership with Unibrass. We're all really, really excited to see what the university bands have to offer for us this evening. Now, looking at the regional leaderboard after the first weekend, and we can see some trends coming into place. So the north and the northwest region of England is there in first place. Aggregate of 16.9 points. Obviously, you can see from the list that the lowest number of points are the ones in favour. This is what aggregate of the positions of all the bands from both Section 2, which we had last Friday, and Section 4 as well. Wales in strong contention in second place, which here at Cory Band we're very pleased to hear about, 19.0 points. And then very strong showing from Europe there was last weekend. They've got themselves into third place. Now, I have to say that, in actual fact, this weekend, there are no European bands in competition. So a real chance for some of the other regions to start moving up that leaderboard. And after this weekend's competition, we will update the leaderboard and we will see how the regions are doing against one another. So come on, London and South, come on, West of England, come on, Midlands. You can do it. You can move up that leaderboard. Now, before we go into our first band, of course, we have three adjudicators with me here in the Cory Band Room this evening. So let me introduce those to you right now. First of all, we welcome for the first time in the 2021 contest, Cory Band's principal cornet player, Tom Hutchinson. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, Phil. Good evening, viewers. It's great to be here again. Looking forward to a great evening of music making from the university bands.
Fantastic. Joining us in the second adjudication slot, we saw Hannah last week, but once again we've got Hannah Plumridge here, who plays piano cornet with Cory. Hello again, Hannah.
Yeah, hi Phil, hi everyone. Really looking forward to what the bands are going to bring tonight.
Did you enjoy your time as a judge last weekend?
Oh yeah, I loved it. It was such a great experience and there was so much good music on show. And
you were particularly impressed with Eddie the Eagle's appearance, weren't you, I remember?
Yeah, I've done a bit more research on that now.
Glad to hear it. And then in our third adjudication slot tonight, we have Chris Osborne, who is actually not associated with Cory Band, but he is absolutely associated with Unibrass, our partners for the university section this evening. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening.
And welcome to our online championships. It's fantastic that you are able to be here. Now, you've been a part of Unibrass since the start, haven't you? Which I think was 10 years ago?
Yes, yeah, I was one of the people, along with Max Stannard initially, and then a whole load of other people at Lancaster University way back. But we started thinking about doing the first contest in 2009, and it took us a couple of years to get it off the ground, and we did that in 2011. I've been involved in some form, playing, conducting, doing bits of tech stuff, or hosting the live streams or the contests ever since.
And of course, I can remember when the competition was being founded, there was a real kind of gap there, wasn't there, where people would play in their local brass band, and when they went away to university, there really wasn't an outlet for them to continue with brass bands, were there, until they'd kind of graduated and got a job and moved to a new area or whatever. So, I mean, the success of Unibrass has been a sort of untapped potential, but it's been absolutely brilliant right from the start, hasn't it?
Yeah, and one of the things that we were really pleased to see, in fact, right from the start, was the number of bands, of university bands, that were formed with the first aim of the band being to come and compete in Unibrass. I think, and I'm trying to remember 10 years ago here, so I might not be quite right, but I think Keele was one of the ones who turned up in the first year of the contest, and they said that one of the reasons for forming the band was to come to Unibrass. So it's really been very good to see, and there's been quite a few bands like that over the years.
Yeah, I mean, that's just great, isn't it, when we hear of opportunities for bands to particularly be formed or to continue young people's playing, so we didn't get that drop off at age 18. I mean, I think it's just been fantastic what Unibrass has achieved over 10 years. But pandemic strikes. I mean, usually Unibrass is in February, isn't it? So what was the intention this year?
Well, I must admit, I never expected to be sat here when I said goodbye at the end of last year's contest. We were very lucky with the timing because, of course, the world sort of ground to a halt 2 or 3 weeks after the contest. And in fact, I remember standing, because I was hosting the Shield section last year, and York Band were playing in it. And I said to York Uni Bands, is there anything you want me to say or don't want me to say to introduce you guys? And this was about 3 days after the first UK cases of coronavirus had been found in a couple of Chinese students at York, and they said, say whatever you like, just don't mention coronavirus. And I didn't really think about much of it very, very much then, but here we are still. Of course, the contest was supposed to be moving to Sheffield this year. And I know the organisers, I'm going to say I'm not actually involved in organising the contest anymore, but there's a fantastic team of organisers who are working really hard with the university bands to try and get something in place for the end of June, restrictions allowing. If the roadmap for ending restrictions stays as it is, they're really hoping that they can run something at the end of June. So just keep an eye out on the social media channels for that. I know everyone, it's great to see so many bands have entered this contest over the last week, this week, and over the coming weeks, but I think they're really itching to get back in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. Well, congratulations on everything that you've achieved in Unibrass, and good luck for not just the short term, but the long term ahead. I'm sure the future's rosy. I mean, we're certainly at Cory aiming for end of June as well, so it's a popular point to kind of be aiming for in the short term, isn't it? Well, it's as I said, a great pleasure, Chris, to have you with us this evening and bringing your expert opinions on the 11 university bands which we do have. Right, well, I hope you're all settled down into your armchairs at home. You might know it's Comic Relief Night tonight, Red Nose Day here in the UK, so I'm sure the bands are going to be bringing us lots of fun and entertainment along the way. Let's get stuck in. So the first band we have is the Southampton University Brass Band, SUBB. They've told me to read the following before their performance. Each summer, Southampton University Brass Band goes on a European tour where they have a tradition to perform Chicken Run. What a tradition. As their tour was cancelled in 2020, they decided to record a distance banding video of the piece instead, as well as recording Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, arranged by one of their previous musical directors, which is another band favourite. The band had planned to perform the final section of Fire in the Blood by Paul Lovett-Cooper as their third piece in this contest. Oh, great. But unfortunately, the UK went into national lockdown during the university Christmas break, so many students were suddenly stuck at home without instruments. Ah, boo. So we won't be hearing Paul Lovett-Cooper, but something else as their third piece. They say, we hope you enjoy our set as we really enjoyed recording it. So, band number one in the university section of the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships is the Southampton University Brass Band. The Southampton University Brass Band there, our band number one. Subdued ending there. Let's go straight to Tom Hutchinson and ask for some instant feedback on the Southampton University Brass Band. Tom, what did you think?
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, well, we opened up with Chicken Run. I don't think I've ever played that piece of music, but I thought it was really good, tight ensemble, good intonation, and I like the use of the percussive pots and pans. That was quite interesting. Needs must in these difficult times, of course. If I could add one thing, it would probably be that the person holding the camera to film the static chicken in the middle of the screen, it would have been nice if they could have had a static camera and then maybe move the chicken around themselves. But a small comment. And then the second piece, which was Sweet Dreams, I thought that it was really groovy, really funky. I think that you got a really strong bass section as well in the band. I know that our boys will tell you that it's the foundations on which a brass band are built upon, but I think that's nonsense personally. But still, it's definitely you've definitely got a really strong bass section. But yeah, the only thing I had to say was actually I thought the singing was a little bit too polite. But other than that, it looked like you had a loads and loads of fun recording that, and it certainly came across, and it was just a really enjoyable performance.
Oh, you wouldn't be surprised to know, Tom, I was going to mention the singing as well. Yeah, it wasn't 100% committed, was it?
Not quite, but I guess we're here to judge the brass playing predominantly, so I'll let that one slip.
Well, I don't know. I think we'll judge the singing and the teapot clanging and the kazoo playing, and we'll judge anything that's put in front of us. Hannah, what did you make of Southampton?
Yeah, really, really good start. I mean, like they were just saying about the kazoo playing and the whistling, it's always something that if you're going to do it, you got to give 110% to make it come across effective. If not, it kind of comes a little bit sometimes half-hearted, and almost overdoing things makes it more fun for the viewer as well. So maybe a little thing there. But Chicken Run is one of my all-time favourite films. So as an opening for me, that was awesome. So thank you. Also, what I would say in terms of the videos, it was all kind of similar. So there wasn't too much change in terms of like graphics or doing anything a little bit different. So maybe if you're going to do it again in the future, maybe experiment with different videoing techniques. But great brass playing. There's some really nice sop interjections in the first piece. And yeah, I mean, great start.
Yeah, a good point about the video montage. I was thinking that myself, and I guess maybe it's a bit of a kind of stereotypical thought, but I'm thinking the university band members are probably the ones that have kind of grown up with technology since they were born, probably like you, Hannah, but unlike me. I'm guessing they're kind of right on top of all the technology. I mean, Chris, is this? Am I right in my thoughts there? Do you think we can expect some real technological kind of advancements with the universities?
I would hope so. Yes. No, I've been out of university quite a few years now. I started university in 2008, and even then we all started uploading videos of performances to Facebook and things like that. So I'm hoping that the university bands can really show some of their creativity there. The videos all looked good, but as Hannah mentioned, a bit of storytelling through video to help the music would have been good. There was really good use of the on-screen graphics to tell the story there, but maybe doing a bit more with the video or matching that with some form of voiceover or something to really guide us through the programme would have been nice, particularly as it had a bit of an unconventional ending there with the third piece, the Irish Blessing. It's not really what you would think of as a finisher there, but it was a really good sort of well filmed, and everything was put together nicely. I absolutely agree on the comments about the bass section. I'm a bass player myself, so I loved it, although I must admit at times it did almost drown out the middle of the band a little bit. There was some really strong cornet players in that band and a really great bass section, and maybe in the mix it would have just helped a little to bring the middle of the band out. Chicken Run is the third most played piece at Unibrass.
I was going to say, you've got some stats there, haven't you?
Yeah.
So just say that again. Chicken Run
is the third most frequently played piece of music at Unibrass.
And Tom, you've never heard it before?
No.
Well, so you're missing out.
I must admit, I don't think I've ever played it with a brass band. I used to do it with the University Wind Band, and they loved it. It always went down a storm, but I've never played it with a brass band. But it's great fun, and I think it works for something like this where you've got the kazoos and things like that. Maybe you should have made a bit more of a feature of that in the video. but it looked like you enjoy it. And I absolutely agree with Hannah's comments on the singing in Sweet Dreams. Now, that was much better in-tune singing than I've ever got out of a brass band or any other ensemble short of a choir, quite frankly. I know, Philip, you're quite a fan of getting some vocal things in some of your arrangements.
The thing on the video is if you've got someone who's not pulling their weight or out of tune, you just bring their fader right down to 0.
Yes. Yeah, I've tried. I must admit, when I was at Lancaster, we did try one or two of your arrangements, Philip, that have some vocal bits in. I remember trying for weeks to get them around. I think it was Copacabana or something like that. But I've got to say, Southampton, your singing was really in tune. You do need to sort of give it a bit more attitude and confidence when all the videos are filmed with the camera right in front of your face. There, it really shows. And if you can look like you're really enjoying it and really getting into the singing, then it will really help lift the performance. But vocally, and I've got to say, I was very impressed with the tuning and the intonation. Actually, I know that's something that distance banding is really, really hard for because you're never in the same room as each other. But I was, overall very impressed there.
Excellent. It's definitely plenty to commend from our first band. And so well done and congratulations. And thank you for your entry to the Southampton University Brass Band. I mean, Chris told us that Chicken Run is the third most played piece at Unibrass, which does leave me with 2 extra questions, actually, but maybe we'll get to that a little bit later on in the evening. Let's move on for now to our band number 2, and we're certainly coming closer to home now with our band number 2. They're from Wales. It's the Cardiff University Brass Band, and they tell me that their programme features a few favourites of ours, with a grand, powerful opening of Toccata in D minor, followed by the popular Latin jazz piece Caravan, and ending with the dramatic and shiver-inducing Skyfall. We've thoroughly enjoyed putting this programme together, even with a very minimal number of rehearsals. So with their musical director, Jack Winkles, this is the Cardiff University Brass Band. Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships for 2021. We just heard some messages from our sponsors there, and we're very grateful to all of our sponsors for this event, which you can see them all listed here at the bottom of the screen. And we'd very much appreciate if you could pay a visit to their websites and see what they have to offer. Their generous support is the main reason that we're able to bring you all of this brass band entertainment across 3 weekends, totally free of charge, on Cory Band's YouTube channel. Now, of course, we are listening to the university section tonight, and our main partner is Unibrass for this section. And we've just heard band number 2, the Cardiff University Brass Band. Now, Tom, that's got some tongues wagging here in the studio because, of course, Cardiff University Brass Band were there with each other in the same room. What did you think?
Well, my first comment was it was nice to see a brass band in the room together again. I actually teach at the College of Music just opposite the road from the Cardiff University itself. And I know that the College of the Welsh College of Music have got their brass band up and running, albeit socially distanced. But it is just really, really nice to see that, and it almost felt like watching a slight, a concert. One slight disadvantage of that, though, is that you don't quite get the same entertainment from the visuals, perhaps, that the other distance bands do, and I guess that it is effectively a live performance. So when we've been doing our distance performances at Cory, put my teeth back in, you've got as many opportunities to get it right ultimately. In this case, it wasn't quite the case, but it was still really nice to see the band together.
It was good, wasn't it? And of course, I should remind viewers that the rules for our competition is that you can get your band together whatever your national rules allow. And I believe you can probably confirm this, Tom, with your work at the college, but in an educational setting, then in Wales, at least, groups are allowed to gather together, aren't they?
Absolutely, and you can see that everyone was facing forward, so there's definitely rules in place, and they look like they've been adhered to. But yeah, I thought that the program was really well balanced. In fact, and we started off with Toccata in D minor. We don't often hear the full version of that, so that was quite nice. Nice to hear. Just a few little errors, but the music had a good drive, and I love the tenor horn interjections as well. Caravan, second piece, great rhythm and pulse, some really balanced harmonies. I think in this kind of music, in particular jazz, with some of the harmonies underneath, they sometimes get lost, but I thought they were brought through really well. And yeah, it was a really entertainment performance. Skyfall, lovely trombone playing. I just thought that perhaps the trombone player could have perhaps played up, or maybe have been given a solo mic. I think the way that the microphone was positioned didn't quite help that, but it was still nice playing nonetheless. Just lost a little bit of energy towards the end, but overall it was a great performance. And as I said earlier, it was like watching a real concert in live, so it was enjoyable. Absolutely.
So moving to you, Hannah, I mean, Tom just kind of talked about the sound there. We saw the hanging microphone in the middle, and Tom also mentioned the tenor horn player, which seemed to, I mean, what a really good player, but very, very loud in that mix. What did you think?
Yeah, so it was kind of a strange mix throughout. Some pieces it worked in, some pieces it didn't pull across as well. So like you said, we heard a lot of the horn player throughout all of it. That did work in some pieces, but not all of them, because then it meant you missed out in other pieces and other sections. So there wasn't a lot of cornets at all coming through in the mix throughout, which was a shame, because I know in Caravan there's like some really nice jazzy inflections, and yeah, it's just, it wasn't too well balanced, which meant that we didn't get to hear all of the players come across.
Yeah, and of course there was a lot of natural acoustic in that great hall there in Cardiff University. So maybe some thoughts about the sound there. And moving to you, Chris, I mean, in terms of the visual aspect, because we kind of saw this a little bit in the last time we ran our competition back in September. We thought the bands that were allowed to get together in person would be at an advantage. And actually, as it turned out, the bands that just sat with a static camera and played, as Tom's kind of already highlighted, do you think they're perhaps missing out on something that is available on these video performances?
Absolutely, and I don't think it's necessarily inherent in doing a sit-down performance together that you essentially forget the storytelling, because I'm afraid that Cardiff aren't going to get any marks for storytelling because there wasn't any in that video. If you're going to do a sit-down performance with all of you together, then you need your conductor or a compere or someone like that to introduce the pieces and guide us as an audience through your set in the same way that you would do if you were playing in Unibrass as an entertainment contest in person. So it was a real shame there was not really any effort on that side, and I absolutely agree with the sound comments. Doing some Caravan, a really fast jazz-based piece in an acoustic like that with a microphone hanging in the ceiling is always going to be very problematic, and it means you haven't got what some purists might say is the ability to cheat and change the mix, as you can do if you've all done socially distanced. But I think it would have certainly benefited from either a proper in-person recording setup or doing it as a potentially as a distance banding video. Having said that, I really like the percussion section from this band, particularly in Toccata. I must admit that the piece. Okay, the momentum in Toccata always kicks in when the percussion join, but I think that was especially true this time, and they really helped gel the band together as soon as they kicked in, and with both good rhythm and good melody part with the tuned percussion player there. I think Skyfall was the one where the band, the brass playing in the band was shown off the best out of the three pieces. I think it probably suited the acoustic the best, and I think it's also a little bit easier in terms of the amount of notes on the page, and when you're in that acoustic with that setup, the fast notes are the ones that can kind of go wrong a bit. So yeah, it was nice to see people all together. I think they missed a trick with taking advantage of the technology and the way they could have delivered their story, but there was some good playing in there, and it was, I say, really a well thought out program as well. Actually, it had an opener, it had a middle piece that was a bit different, and it had a nice ending on it.
Sure. Okay, great. So there we are. Those are your live comments from the judges there, Cardiff University Brass Band. The YouTube chat is open, so please put your opinions, if you're watching this and you have opinions, which I'm sure you do, please put them in the YouTube chat. We are looking to keep everything as constructive as we possibly can, so please play with the spirit of that. But by all means, get involved interactively in our live YouTube chat as well as we go along. Great, so that was the University of Cardiff Brass Band, and we are moving now to our band number 3 in this section, which is the University of Sheffield Brass Band, of course, representing Yorkshire in the UK. Their musical director is Jack Aitken. Now, the University of Sheffield Brass Band is a non-auditioned, inclusive ensemble featuring members studying a range of courses. We decided to reflect this in our programme, showcasing our love of Sheffield through our homage to the Steel City with our performance of Steel Skies and our love of the rich banding history of our city and our recent Unibrass win with both Blaze Away and a band favourite and the Yorkshire classic of the Floral Dance. Here we go then with our band number 3, the University of Sheffield Brass Band. Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships for 2021. We have just listened to the University of Sheffield Brass Band in the university section in partnership with Unibrass. Now, Tom, where are you from?
I'm from Sheffield, Phil.
Right, interesting. So the Sheffield University Brass Band put together what they said was a celebration of Sheffield. Did that make you nostalgic for home?
It definitely did, actually, albeit the last piece, but I'm sure you'll come on to that later. But Blaze Away, what a great march it is. I used to love playing this. When I was back in Sheffield, I thought the trombones were fantastic. I know that you had an extra player as well, just to boost the numbers. But it really came across well. The only slight downside was the intonation in the ensemble wasn't quite always there. The Steel Skies, I don't actually know this piece, but I thought it was really reflective. There's some really nice melodies, and I was going to say, being a native of Sheffield, I couldn't help but think of images of the city in my head as you played that. And saying just that, I think that perhaps that might have been a nice thing for you to have maybe shared with the viewers, a couple of images of the city, just to kind of portray what the music is, or to show rather what the music is trying to portray. I mean, there's plenty at Kelham Island, the Steel, all the factories, Sheffield Wednesday, of course, not United. There's plenty that you could have done with that. I mean, I'll be driving up to the north of England later, past Meadowhall on the M1, so I'll be listening. I'll be thinking of that piece as I drive past for sure. And then the floral dance at the end. I'm not quite sure that's from Sheffield, but I would have quite liked to have heard something from the Full Monty. I think that would have tied it in. It would have made it complete. Maybe a hot chocolate or something like that. But no, I thought that the floral dance was really well presented, and it looked like you had a lot of fun playing it as well. Really nice to hear that performance from the Sheffield University man. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. And as for the Full Monty, I'm glad they kept their clothes on. That's definitely for sure. Hannah, Tom was talking about the floral dance. I mean, yeah, that's surely from down your neck of the woods, isn't it?
Yeah, that's much more near me. So I'm from Devon, but the floral dance, I believe, was from Helston, which is even further south, down in Cornwall, for their Floral Day. It's kind of the opposite end of the country, really.
So there is a best prize for the best regional presentation, but you are supposed to present music from your own region, not someone else's region.
We should say that it was made famous by a Yorkshire band, though. Perhaps that's why they've picked it.
That's true, yeah. That is true, yeah. We'll definitely give them that. Okay, I'll accept that. Hannah, what did you think of the standard of musical performance with Sheffield?
Yeah, it was really good actually, and it was nice to hear some good playing. And what I would say though is what did come across sometimes is there were different styles within the band. So some sections would play, like the cornets, for example, would play things longer, whereas the trombones might cut it off shorter. So what would be really, really good just to elevate it to the next level would be just to have a little think about talking about those before you do your recordings, just so you make sure you're crystal clear on what you're going to do in each section, just to gel it together a bit more. Yeah,
that's an excellent point, and certainly one we've been aware of at Cory with the distance videos we've done as well. That pieces that we've not done together physically as a band, we've been at pains to have online sessions, haven't we? So I can say long, short, loud, quiet, whatever, and everyone gets the same message. So that's a really, really excellent comment. Good, excellent. So there we have the University of Sheffield Brass Band, our band number 3 in the university competition. Let's move to band number 4, and this is the second contender for Wales here this evening. Don't forget, Wales is currently sitting second in the regional leaderboard. So let's hope for another strong challenge from Wales here. We have the Bangor University Brass Band and their conductor Joshua Clayton. They are aiming to cover a variety of contrasting music within our performance. Begins with a classic concert march, Bandology, by Eric Osterling. Oh, that's a classic, isn't it? A band favourite. We then move on to a more locally based piece, Gareth Wood's brilliant arrangement of Men of Harlech, written about the 7-year siege of Harlech Castle, which is located just down the coastline from Bangor. And we then conclude the programme in a more subdued fashion, taking a trip from Holyhead across the Irish Sea with a performance of the Irish Blessing arranged by Stephen Bradnam. This is the Bangor University Brass Band.
I'm Band Lance Corporal Matthew Fletcher, and I'm a euphonium player with the Band of Her Majesty's Royal Marines, Portsmouth. I joined the Royal Marines Band Service in 2016, after graduating from the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. During my time at the college, I played for the Cory Band, and was lucky enough to travel around the world and also win every major brass banding competition. Since starting my career, I've continued studying for a master's degree in performance, which is heavily subsidised by the band service. I'm also fortunate to be granted time away from my job to continue playing with brass bands. I always enjoy the opportunity to go back to the Cory Band and get the red jacket on again.
Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships 2021. It's great to see that video for the Royal Marines there with ex-Cory member Matt Fletcher talking about his experiences going through university, of course, playing with the Cory Band whilst he was studying it in Cardiff, and then going on to what is a fantastic career with the band of the Royal Marines. Looks so exciting, doesn't it? And of course, before then, we heard from another of our sponsors, Johnny Bates Music, and we'd like to give a shout out to Johnny today. It is his birthday. birthday today. So many happy returns, Johnny, and thanks for your support of our competition. Now, we've just listened to the Bangor University Brass Band from North Wales, of course. Let's go to Hannah Plumridge and see what initial thoughts are on Bangor. Hannah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great programme. So Bandology is the opening piece. It was strong. It was a good opening. It's a nice toe tapping piece, and I think it came across quite well. Obviously, from the offset, it was evident that you had like a limited number of players. So well done for what you did with who you had. It did come across well. The trombones in that sounded great as well. So then you moved into Men of Harlech. Now, this is such an iconic piece. I think nearly everybody knows this was such a toe tapper. One thing I would say about this, it had such a good rhythmic drive. And I mean, just be careful about latching onto that, because at some points, say if you had longer note lengths against parts with shorter note lengths, it will kind of pull apart and not gel sit together as well. So just really latch onto that percussion and keep it moving and keep it pushing forward. And then, yeah, the last piece, the Irish Blessings, this opened with a really, really lovely quartet. Had great blended sounds within the four instruments. Personally, for me, I kind of would have liked it if it was switched round, so maybe the slower piece in the middle and then the nice, lively piece to finish. But yeah, it was a great set.
I think, if you'd said 4 bands into this section, we've heard 4 bands, and 2 of them have chosen to finish with the Irish Blessing. I'm not sure you get very long odds on that. It's a curious piece to finish with, isn't it? Especially when you've got a real belter like Men of Harlech there in the middle of the programme. Chris, I expect that's something you're interested in. You've talked about the sort of story element and the narrative through the programmes with previous bands. So what did you think of Bangor?
Absolutely. And initially I did think, why is this piece at the end? But actually I thought it might be a case of saving the best till last, because actually that was my favourite performance out of the set. And they're a brave band, because I think if you asked me for my top 10 pieces that I would not like to record socially distanced, I think Irish Blessing would be up there, because your intonation, your tuning and your timing has all got to be absolutely spot on. And that's really, really difficult. And you can't do any rubatos or any sort of playing around with the piece at all. You've got to stick to an absolutely strict rhythm, because you're presumably playing with a click track. So you can't, it's really hard to put the emotion into the piece. But fair play to them. I loved it. I thought that was a really, really good performance, that piece. Men of Harlech. Now, I must admit, I didn't know this arrangement until I think I heard you guys playing it on one of your videos fairly recently, and it's very, very different to the traditional one, but I like it, and the percussion section did a good job of getting the feel of the band over. I think at times the style of the brass playing and the percussion wasn't quite together, I think, stylistically, but I enjoyed it. I must admit, Bandology is not one of my favourite pieces by a long way, but I actually thought it was a good performance there, and a good way to open a programme.
Did you say you don't like Bandology?
Yeah, sorry. Do you want me to?
Oh,
do you want
my
me to
goodness.
go?
We need a red card here on the judging panel. Everyone loves Bandology, surely. Goodness me. I think we found the one person who doesn't.
Sorry. I'll get my coat and go, shall I?
Now, Chris, you and I just, in the ad break there, were talking about mascots as well, because we were having some contention as to what the Bangor University mascot was, because, of course, Unibrass has been held at Bangor University for the last 3 times, hasn't it? And Cory Band certainly has performed concerts in Bangor. And I seem to remember the mascot as one thing, but you tell me it's something else.
Yeah, so I must admit, I did actually have to look at my compare script from last year for this, but their Bangor is Lee Half Sheep, named after the rugby player, but he's half sheep and half dragon, which is about as Welsh as you can get, I guess.
Half sheep and half dragon, yeah, that does sound very, very Welsh, doesn't it? So,
depending on whether it's the front half or the back half, that could be a really different animal.
That's true. Yeah, if you could maybe post a picture of your mascot online, Bangor, then we can all see what Lee Half Sheep actually looks like. But the mascots are an important part of the university event, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Most bands seem to have them, and I must admit, I forget them all each year and have to get the bands to tell me which is which. There's a squirrel, I think that might be Keel or someone's like that, and I'm sure someone does have some sort of bird for theirs. but it's something that trips me up every year when I'm comparing.
Yeah, you'd have thought if a bird, they'd go for like an eagle or something, but here in a band's got a squirrel as the mascot.
Yes.
Perhaps, being this big kind of symbol of strength is not what's required. Anyway, there we are. So a little bit of chat there, extra chat on Bangor University. Thank you so much for your entry. Well done to you. Weapons of Brass Destruction, it said on the T-shirt of the guy who was putting in a lot of the instruments there. So absolutely. Now, band number 5 in our competition this evening is from the USA. We have our overseas band, the Oakland University Brass Band, and their conductor, Kenneth Crochet. Now, in this time of the global pandemic, they say, selfless acts of courage and service have been witnessed by all of us every day. These actions have been demonstrated by frontline workers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, police, teachers, and countless others willing to risk all to help their fellow man or woman. The Oakland University Brass Band wishes to honour these individuals' contributions in our programme titled Heroes. Here we go from the USA, Michigan, the Oakland University Brass Band. From Rochester, Michigan in the United States of America, that was the Oakland University Brass Band. Let's go straight to Chris. Let's have your impressions on that.
The American invasion's arrived. They brought the big guns. They're not messing about. That is exactly what I've been looking for. It told a story. There was fantastic playing. And the programme was great as well. They've picked pieces straight out of any other Unibrass programme. The 3 composers they picked there, Peter Graham, Philip Spark, Paul Lovett Cooper, are all in the top 5 most featured for a very good reason. They produce music for an entertainment contest that is absolutely fantastic. The storytelling as well was in a different league to some of what we've seen. It's like comparing maybe the FA Cup final to the Super Bowl for an event, right? The Americans just know how to do it bigger, and they seem to know how to do it better as well. It was absolutely fantastic. The graphics at the start with the definitions really tying into the pieces, and then the use of the video boxes showing the soloists, the featured players was really good, and the players supporting them. I thought the cornet solo in their first piece was excellent. The flugel solo in the second piece and the trombone playing as well, I thought were very good as well. And it was just really nice to be able to see the featured players as they were performing and the band supporting them.
Yeah, it was a impressive package, wasn't it? Tom, I mean, we've played that Philip Spark arrangement of Summon the Heroes. That is some solo for the cornet there, isn't it? Which Alexis Dill was the cornet soloist. What did you think of that?
That's exactly what I've written, Phil. It's such a difficult and taxing solo, and I guess the trick is to make it sound easy, and she certainly did that. I mean, yeah, it was just superb. The whole programme had a great theme, as Chris mentioned, but I thought the atmospheric opening really set out the performance from the start, as I said, followed by that superb cornet solo. But I also liked how smartly dressed they were. I think not everyone tonight has been in some kind of uniform, whether that be a smart or casual uniform. They were all in uniform, which was nice to see. Follow the Flame, I thought, was the first piece tonight that's given me goosebumps, I have to say. I thought it was beautiful. Shout out to the flugelhorn player as well. And then to finish, Walking with Heroes. I mean, I didn't really write anything about this because it was just terrific band playing. But one thing I did note is that before COVID, I used to do a lot of travelling, and what I used to come across is bands overseas are always striving to find that British brass band sound, whatever that might be. And I just think they've got it in abundance. The band sounds terrific, and I was certainly bowled over by that performance.
And before you even mentioned that was going to be exactly my next question, but you already answered it. But I mean, I agree. I mean, that the British sound is something which our bands are kind of renowned for the world over. But in many ways, the American band there was the most British sounding of the bands we've had so far, didn't you think?
Absolutely. And I think there's probably a number of factors. I mean, they're kind of the marching bands and the wind bands that are so prominent over there. And the history of brass bands in itself tends not to lend their style to ours. But actually, I think they've crossed over fantastically well. And I wouldn't have been able to tell that was an American brass band at all. It was brilliant.
For sure, yeah, impressive stuff. And we've seen a lot of you contributing to the group chat on YouTube as well. We want to thank you so much for supporting our contest and giving a real international element to this university section here this evening. I do want to name all the soloists as well, so they get the credit they deserve. Alexis Dill, we already mentioned, was the fantastic cornet soloist. Zachary Musinko was the flugelhorn soloist we heard in the middle there. And Alexis again on cornet, joined by Dustin Freeman on the trombone solo in the final piece, Paul Lovett Cooper. I think you could probably tell from the studio our judges were very, very impressed. So thank you so much for your contribution, the Oakland University Brass Band. Right, let's move on to band number 6 now. This kind of takes us just over halfway in this university contest. We're going to take a 10-minute comfort break after this band and after we've heard from the judges. But let me introduce to you band number 6, the Lancaster University Brass Band. And of course, Lancaster was where Unibrass was first conceived and first started. They're representing the northwest of England, and the musical directors are listed. They have 2 musical directors. Ooh, that's lucky. Henry Lay and Alex Hardgrave. Now, Lancaster University Brass Band is one of the most active ensembles in the University of Lancaster Music Society, making the past year of no concerts or rehearsals a difficult change for everyone. We decided to use this opportunity to create a programme that incorporates some of our favourite pieces, all while showcasing the stunning locations we are lucky enough to have in this city that many of us call home. We hope you enjoy our set of Kenilworth, Stolhimmel, and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, featuring Lancaster Castle and Priory Church, the Lune Aqueduct, and Williamson Park and the Ashton Memorial. Here we go, Lancaster University Brass Band. There we are, the University of Lancaster brass band shooting the killer blow to us at the end there. I mean, I think one of the things we were commenting on in the studio as we were watching there was the cinematography. But let's go to Tom Hutchinson and see what your impressions were, cinematography and musicality of the Lancaster University brass band.
Well, it was pretty entertaining, wasn't it? I thought that the opening was pretty effective, and I love the visuals outside the castle. I did think we were going to go into a flash mob at one point with all the members of the band coming into shot, but it was still nice to see a little bit of your city. The second piece was, I think, your best piece. Playing wise, I'm talking about quality of performance. There was just some lovely sounds. Could have taken a little bit more of the bass line, but I noticed that you were a little light in basses anyway. But it was a really reflective mood that you created, and as I said, with the visuals, it just created a great atmosphere. And then the last piece was just so cleverly put together. I just had a smile on my face throughout. It was quite funny. I'd have loved to have been a passerby walking you have your cornet jewel off. That would have been quite something to behold. But overall, a really, really entertaining performance, and something which had a little bit of everything in it.
You were just saying then about just some technical advice as well about getting that wah-wah sound in the good, the bad and the ugly. What was that? Yeah,
it would have been nice to see it at the end, wah, 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 with some hand effects. That was perhaps the only thing that I could have added to that piece. But it's a small point.
There we are, tip from the top there. Hannah, what did you think of Lancaster? Did you like their cinematography as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was nice to see a really good variety as well. So you weren't just videoing the players all the time. So there was scenes like where you were coming through the flowers and it was really colourful and bright.
Yeah, I noticed that, a bit creepy, both.
A little bit. And even like the use of, at the end with the time-lapse where it's all sped up so you get the sunrise, was it? Or sunset?
Sunset, Hannah. That's where the sun goes down. Sunrise, it goes up.
Not in Devon.
Okay. Is that a jam or cream first type question, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not good.
Well, we definitely won't go into those controversial waters. So what about the contrast in the programme? I mean, 3 contrasting pieces, they seem to work, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It was really balanced and nice. I mean, you had the slow music in there too, which is always really, really lovely to hear, and a nice break in the middle of the piece. And then the last piece itself actually had quite a lot of contrast within it. So like walking basses at one point, it goes into double time, and then you've got lots of fanfares going on. There's a lot of different styles, and it's good.
A good choice indeed. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much to the Lancaster University Brass Band. You are our band number 6 in the university section of the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Don't forget, this section is coming to you in partnership with Unibrass. And as I mentioned before, Lancaster played, we're going to take a brief 10-minute pit stop now, just so for the comfort of the judges. So don't go away. We will be back in 10 minutes' time with our band number 7, which is the University of Warwick Brass Band. So now it's time for you to go and put your pizza in the oven, top up your glass of wine or whatever you've got, and we'll see you back here in 10 minutes' time.
I'm Band Corporal Craig Sanders, and I'm a percussionist in the Band of Her Majesty's Royal Marines in Portsmouth. I joined the Royal Marines Band Service aged 16 after growing up in Essex, while playing in the tendering brass band in the 3rd section. Since joining the Royal Marines Band Service, I performed all over the world and performed as a soloist at our annual concerts in the Royal Albert Hall. When I joined the Royal Marines Band Service, I had no grades and just had GCSEs. But since joining, I've studied for a BMIS Honours degree, which was fully funded, and I'm currently working towards a Masters in Composition, which is part funded by the Band Service. I'm lucky that I'm still able to perform in brass bands, even when working in the Royal Marines, most recently playing with the Flowers Band at all the major contests. My hobby is now my job. There really is no other career like it.
Hi, I'm musician Emily Jowl and I'm currently in my second year at the Royal Marine School of Music. I joined in 2019, having grown up in Sheffield and played in Thurleston Brass Band, Southampton Training Band, before moving up to the first section senior band in 2013. The band service don't take ton horn, so I was accepted on French horn. It's different and it's a challenge, but I really love it. I joined the band service because of the many musical opportunities as well as sport and travel, and the chance to do a fully funded Beamer's Honours degree course in music, which I'm currently through the first year of. Once I get back out into a band, I'd love to get back into brass banding and pick up my tenor horn again. I can't wait to perform on my first MFM on a new instrument that I've come to love.
I want to know who I am, so I can let go. Let it all out. I want you to feel what I feel, so you can hear my soul sing. I want you to hear my story, so you can pass it on. I want to make waves.
Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships for 2021. Here we are with the university section. And we're in partnership with Unibrass this evening. And I'm delighted that one of our adjudication panel is Chris Osborne of Unibrass. It's great to have you here, Chris. Are you enjoying the contest so far?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely loving it. There's been some fantastic performances, particularly the last two. The entertainment side of it's really come out, and it's reminiscing about all the entertainment that we see when we have the contest in person.
Of course, yeah, something we're all missing. So what have you got coming up with Unibrass in the near future?
So I've already mentioned that the organisers are really trying to get something together for the end of June. So fingers crossed they do, and we'll hear more about that as the restrictions hopefully ease. There's a project that took place late last year. So Unibrass, the Lockdown Collection. It's an album project that 14 university brass bands contributed to. They recorded socially distanced banding tracks, and that's on World of Brass Play now. And it should be on all the major streaming platforms in the next couple of weeks as well. And they were asked to perform a piece that has some form of link to their area or region, a bit like we have asked for the contest tonight for the regional representation.
Floral Dance from Yorkshire, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So that's there. There's 14 bands there, so there's actually 3 more than you're going to hear tonight. So that's online now. There is a band camp being run in the summer that's going to be in Sheffield at the end of August, led by David Thornton for 18 to 25-year-olds. Look on the Unibrass social media or website for details about that. Sounds very exciting, particularly a nice chance for everyone to get back together in person just before the university term starts. And there's a lottery. You'll have seen the advert that's running on the stream for Unibrass. There's that lottery, and there's a chance for them to win a huge, significant amount of money there. So when that advert comes up, you see all the details there.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's great to have some plans for the short-term future, obviously to kind of ease us back into the routine. And I guess for university students, we're hoping that September is going to be back to as it was, yeah?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think for student groups and societies of all types, particularly music groups who can really only do their main activities in person, everyone has everything crossed that come Freshers Week, whenever that is for each respective university, that things are as back to as normal as they can be, so that they can get off on the right foot, get rehearsing straight away, and then all have a really solid programme ready for Unibrass next year in person.
Absolutely, here. Fantastic. Well, it's great to have you here, Chris. So thanks for joining us with Tom and Hannah here as part of the judging panel for the university section. We are moving on now to our band number 7 in the contest. This is the University of Warwick Brass Band, of course representing the Midlands in the UK. Name of musical director, N.A. It says. Not applicable. So these guys go without director. We wanted to present a set that was nostalgic of pre-pandemic times, while also showing off our university campus and being personal to our band. We settled on a day out with the University of Warwick Brass Society. We'll take you across our university, seeing shows, looking at nature, and finally on a big night out. So everything is included here by the sound of it. Let's watch the University of Warwick Brass Band.
It's time for the Brass Society Day Out. Let's see what's on today's agenda. We start the day by heading to the Warwick Arts Centre to see the circus. I wonder if there'll be any clowns.
We're ready to stretch our legs after that. Let's go on a nature walk around Warwick University campus. I wonder what we can find by the river.
We're all feeling really energised now, ready to get our 70s disco gear on and head to the nightclub. Get your dancing shoes on, everyone, and get ready to strut your funky stuff.
Thank you again to our sponsors, partners and supporters there. You've just heard from a few of them. Please do check them out. You can see all of their logos here at the bottom of the screen. Indebted to you all. Welcome back to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Here we are in the university section. We're partnering with Unibrass. And I'm just tucking into a nice cup of tea here, and I showed you this last week, but you can maybe see that we've had these special mugs commissioned for the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. We actually put them for sale last week during the contest, and they were absolutely flying off the shelves this week. So if you want to get your Cory mug, make sure that you head over to our website when we still do have a few in stock. But they are selling fast. So get yourself over there, and we would like you to send in your pictures of yourself maybe watching the Cory Online Championships whilst using your special mug. Post those onto our Facebook page, please. Now, back to the competitive action. We just listened to the University of Warwick Brass Band. Now, Hannah, there was a band that really seemed to enjoy dressing up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you think?
So good to see, like some people actually having fun. So University of Warwick had a great theme running throughout with the fun element. Opened with the show, we had loads of clowns. We had a panda onesie as well, I believe. But yeah, it was great playing too to kind of accompany this. And you can really tell if you're enjoying yourself on the screen. So yeah, really well done with that. The middle piece was probably my favourite from the set, if I'm being honest, and it was nice to see something new as well, almost a classical brass ensemble with the trumpets and the French horn rather than the cornets and the tenor horn, and it was a really, really well blended sound, and there was some great musical styling in there too, and the harmonies in that piece, like the arrangement of it, was really, really great. And then the last piece, the dancing, was pretty awesome, and we had some kitchen discos, which I think we can all kind of relate to.
We've all had a kitchen disco in the last year, yeah.
Party lights, everything. It was really, really good.
And so Boney M, is that a group known to you? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know all about Boney M?
All about.
From the 70s, right, Boney M? Yeah, I thought so, yeah. About 20 years before you were born, but there we are. Chris, I mean, you must have memories of the University of Warwick. I remember when Unibrass was held at University of Warwick, one of my abiding memories was arriving on campus and walking into the front door, which we saw on screen there, and walking into the bar area and finding that my shoes were stuck to the floor.
Yeah.
Really emotional memory for me, that was. Never got those shoes back again. Anyway, so tell us what...
I wondered why you were walking around barefoot that day.
There we are, yeah, that explains it. Then I got sticky soles on my feet as well. So tell us what you thought of the University of Warwick Brass Band.
Well, it's really interesting, actually. Just having watched the last three sets, we know I got rather excited when the Americans came in with their entertainment, and then Lancaster upped it again with a very different programme, very serene, but very nice use of video of landscapes in theirs, and then we go for something completely different again. We went from the serenity of Lancaster to the chaos of the circus, but they absolutely nailed it. The dressing up and the costumes were good. It all looked like you were in character, you were enjoying yourselves. The video to music editing was absolutely spot on. Every beat, the right person was in the right place on the screen, and all the boxes appeared at the right time. The curtains in the background to make it look like a circus tent were all great, and I thought that's a really excellent way to start a programme. The middle piece was a great contrast to that. I thought I heard a couple of tuning issues at the beginning of that, but I thought it improved throughout the piece. And then the Boney M Megamix. Now, normally if I see the name Frank Bernards on an arrangement, I think this could be dubious, but you know what? You pulled it off, and I thought that it was really very good. A fantastic way to end a piece, and a completely different style. It brought it back to the beginning of the set, so it helped the storytelling through the set, because we went from the circus and the fun of the circus through the nature walk and into the kitchen discos that we were seeing there. And I thought it was a really very nice way to round off the piece.
Absolutely, yeah. There was a lot to commend in that performance, wasn't there? And I should remind viewers that we are giving awards for the best of each section: best cornets, best horns, best use barries, best troms, best basses, and best percussion. So all of these prizes, these special prizes, are up for grabs, as well as most entertaining programme. So I certainly agree with you, Chris, that the last few bands we've seen certainly must be putting their hats in the ring for for certainly that special prize. So thank you very much indeed to the University of Warwick Brass Band. You are our band number 7 in the university section this evening. Let's move to band number 8. This is a lovely story. The King's College London Brass Band, representing London and the southern counties, and their musical director is Will Douglas. Now, this band was actually only formed a few months ago. Towards the end of 2020, the brass players of King's College London decided to form a band. Since then, the band members have been working tirelessly to give the band a strong foundation to start in-person rehearsals in September. This is the band's first outing at a contest, and we hope our performance here will be the first of many. Wow, so do we. Our programme is titled London Calling and focuses on a trip to London and a tour of its famous sights, including an evening at Ronnie Scott's nightclub. We very much hope you enjoy. So here we go with the debut contest performance of King's College London Brass Band. Wow, the King's College London Brass Band making their contest debut here. Our band number 8 this evening in the university section. Chris, what did you think?
Well, we've talked about the entertainment being upped, and once again, they brought it, absolutely. That was a fantastic debut from the production values, for the entertainment, for the storytelling. It was all there, right? We knew exactly which city they were based in, and there was absolutely no doubt about that throughout the whole performance. And they managed to bring the style of the playing to suit the music, and it suited with the production elements as well. The comments that Tom gave one of the previous bands about the Harmon mutes and the wah-wah effects for your jazz playing, they absolutely don't need that advice. They already have that down to a T, particularly their inputting on the wrist. It was fantastic to hear that. And it was overall... I'm glad I don't get travel sick, because we were rushing around London at quite a pace there, faster than I've ever managed to get around London on the tube. But it was really nice to see the different parts of the city and some of the different shots that we used there, and it all fitted in with the video as well. It was really nice the way that the players were sort of merged into those shots. It didn't just look like, oh, I'm going to stick a background in here and I've got to have my players in front of it. There was some real thought about the composition of the images as well. Overall, a very impressive debut.
Yeah, it was full of imagination, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
and full of detail as well. I noticed, the editing claps together was even kind of synchronized with the music, wasn't it? So lots of little things which all added up to make something pretty engaging, really, right from the start.
Yeah, I thought this, when I watched it, one of my first feelings is this has been thought about as a production and has been storyboarded and thought from the very beginning to the very end. How are we going to tell this story through the medium of video and music, and how are we going to take the viewers and the listeners on that journey? And that is exactly what we're looking for in an online contest.
Absolutely, yeah. You could see the attention to detail had gone on right from the initial planning stages, couldn't you? Now, I'm gonna just surprise you. I hope I don't take you by surprise here, but we heard Caravan there, which I think is the second time we've heard that this evening. And you mentioned earlier that Chicken Run was the third most popular piece played at Unibrass. Is Caravan on that list? Have you got that list there?
It is. Yes, Caravan has been played 4 times. So I think it's the 13th, well, joint 13th. There's loads of pieces that have been played 4 times. Caravan is very popular, and that doesn't include the performances today either.
Didn't get into the top 10 though, did it? So get to
No.
what's the second and first most popular piece?
First is the Cossack, second is Gale Force.
The Cossack Gale Force beating out Chicken Run.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Tom, let's go back to King's College London Brass Band. I mean, as Chris already hinted at, just some really good brass playing in that, wasn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my first comment was actually relating to the video editing because it kind of took you by surprise almost. I think that was one of the best performances that we've seen this evening in terms of how the video was put together. It was so professionally done. But a little bit more on the playing. I thought that the Caravan opener was really in keeping with that jazzy style that brass bands sometimes find difficult to achieve. But I also wrote, I know that Chris said this, but you got it down to a T. You really did. The Stardust solo I thought was superbly played. Beautiful trombone soloist. I felt like I was in one of those old photo rooms with sort of the red lights in it. But it was a really nice effect. I just felt that you could have given the music the band could have given the music a little bit more space. It's such a stunning piece of music. I just think it needed a little bit more time. And
it's just to go on that. It's tricky to do that when you're playing to click track, isn't it? So I guess what would you say? Just set the click track a few metronome marks slower to give yourself room, yeah.
Possibly, or maybe find a slower performance of that if you're playing it along to a recording. But
and before you make your next point, I should also credit Michael Tasco as the name of the trombone soloist in that band.
Bravo, Michael! Absolutely. And then putting on the wrist to finish. Great use of plungers as Chris has already mentioned. I think the trombone player took it to a new level of plunger though. I think he still had the stick on the end of it. It was
a loo brush, I think.
Yeah, it must have been a last minute addition. But and a big shout out to the drummer in this band. I thought he was kept busy throughout, and he was superb playing, really tight. And also the cornet section as well. A couple of cornet solos which I was really impressed with. But just a really enjoyable performance all round.
Yeah, agreed on the drummer, and we got a lot of detail in the sound mix there as well, didn't we? Across all around the drum kit, I thought. And so I mean, you both highlighted the good kind of solo brass playing, particularly use of the mutes as well. And we didn't get the name of the cornet soloist in putting on the Ritz. So if that was you, perhaps you could put your name on the chat. I saw him playing in his bedroom there. He got a ton of mutes on top of his wardrobe. I imagine you had more mutes up there than you've got in your loft at home, Tom.
Not quite.
Not quite, no, of course not. I think we can safely say that was an incredibly successful debut contest performance from the King's College London Brass Band. So well done, everyone, and thank you so much for your entry and support of the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Let's move on now to band number 9. We have 3 more bands to bring you this evening. And band number 9 is the Bristol University Brass Band with their musical director, Angus Curry. Now, their programme begins with Knight Templar by George Allen, who was born in 1864 and was a lifelong brass bander playing the tenor horn in the northeast of England. His piece, Knight Templar, was one of his most famous contest marches and is still a Whit Friday favourite to this day. And also, it shares its name with a local Bristol pub. The other piece which the University of Bristol are going to play has another connection with Bristol. In fact, it's a connection to me because I graduated from the University of Bristol and the band has chosen to play as their second piece my arrangement of Nordic Polska, originally by Edenroth and Kallio, a number which is based on the early life of children's author Roald Dahl and his regular summer holidays in Norway. So here we are with the Bristol University Brass Band. Some great tunes available there from right and round one of our sponsors here at the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships for 2021. Now, we have just heard the Bristol University Brass Band. Let's go straight to Tom Hutchinson and get some feedback on Bristol. What did you think, Tom?
It was great, wasn't it? Started off with Knight Templar, one of my favourite marches, and probably one of the most difficult marches that you can choose to play in a brass band setting, at least anyway. And it was executed really well. I thought it was really crisp, with a clear sound. It wasn't quite always together in ensemble, and I thought the balance was a little bit middle to bottom heavy at times, but it was still excellent. I just thought that perhaps in the first piece you could have done a little bit more with the visuals, as you did in the second piece, Nordic Polska. I know it's a lot of effort to do that. I wouldn't have a clue where to start, but it really does make a big difference. But yeah, going on to the second piece, Nordic Polska, a piece that we know quite well. I thought, contrary to my first comment about the balance in Knight Templar, I thought that actually the soloist shone through really well, and they all played superbly well. It was just a great performance overall, and it brought back some nice memories of brass in concert.
Yes. Hannah, do you remember that one from 2016?
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was nice to hear that again, wasn't it? But I guess I would say that. But so, what did you think of Bristol?
Yeah, they were really good, and it was a nicely balanced program as well. And they're such iconic pieces that, I mean, personally, I know them both quite well. And even in the march to start with, there's loads of parts that you wouldn't usually hear. So there's like a nice principal and rep duet in there that I thought you can definitely bring out a little bit more. Just, you know, when you get solos, you gotta take them when you can, especially on rep. But yeah, the band sound was good. One thing I would say about the first piece is some of the tuning, especially top A's for cornets. I know it's not a nice note anyway. Was a little bit out from time to time, and I know it is really hard. And I guess what we've got to appreciate as well is that with these being university bands, there's a potential that some of these people have never even seen each other in person, let alone, you know, play together. So it's really good to see you playing together as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I guess whether you've met someone or not, a top A is still going to be sharp.
Yeah.
Okay. Amen to that. And would you agree with what Tom said about the visual presentation? I mean, the second piece was presented differently visually to the first, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice that kind of when each player was coming in, you showed their video. Again, you could have done a little bit more. I don't know. Again, I'm not the greatest with video editing and whatnot. But what was really nice was we got to hear some other instruments that weren't featured as much tonight. So there's a really good baritone player in there too, and it was
the baritone player stood out for me as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
Some really good solo playing, excellent flugel playing as well in that. And don't forget there are individual awards for best sections and best soloists as well. So thank you very much, and thank you to the University of Bristol Brass Band for your entry into the competition. Good luck. We move on now to band number 10. This is the penultimate band of this evening's competition, and we are going to the University of Huddersfield, which of course is representing Yorkshire in the UK, and the musical director is Jonathan Beattie. Now, the University of Huddersfield has seen some fine musicians over the years and excited to be able to showcase work of current students alongside alumni. And I know for a fact, actually, that Simeon Johnson is a musician who graduated from the University of Huddersfield Brass Band and is now a member of the Royal Marines Band, one of our principal partners for this competition. Now, the band have been really engaged and excited with the opportunity presented by the Cory Band, Capitol and Unibrass with the addition of this section. The programme will feature a world premiere from one of our alumni opening the show. And of course, this will be eligible for our special composition prize sponsored by Jonathan Bates Music. We then move on to a march in traditional fashion. Then we will feature Kyle Blake as our chosen soloist, closing with a student favourite. And then they promise us all will be revealed. So here we go then with the University of Huddersfield.
University of Huddersfield's programme. We started with a fantastic piece called Charge, written by an alumni, Ben Smith. Then we went on in traditional fashion with a fantastic march called Under the Double Eagle, arranged by the wonderful Gordon Langford. We're now going to move on to our solo presentation of the programme. And this song was made famous by Frank Sinatra. It's called In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. And our Frank Sinatra today is the ever-present Kyle. Now on to our finale, a terrific piece called Los Hermanos de Bob, arranged by another alumni of the University of Huddersfield, Sandy Smith.
just heard the University of Huddersfield brass band before that little commercial break with their conductor, Jonathan Beattie. Now, Huddersfield, one of the big beasts of Unibrass, of course. They were the champions back in 2014 and are usually certainly in the top 2 or 3 of the top section of Unibrass, the trophy section. I should say for our viewers, we do have trophy and shield section bands all kind of mixed up together in our 11 tonight. There is a special prize for the highest placed shield band at the end of the evening, which of course could be first place. Who knows? Right, let's go over to Hannah Plumridge and see, what did you think of the University of Huddersfield, Hannah?
Wow, it was such a great show and so well put together. I mean, the first piece as well from Ben, the new world premiere, was great. I mean, it was such a exciting opening and it was played so well. There was great technique going on. It was so neat, it was crisp. And then that spread into the march next, the Under the Double Eagle. And I've just put, like, it was so crisp, neat, tidy. There was so much dynamic contrast in as well, which is something that's hard to get sometimes in distance performancing, but you can tell that you've had a really good video and sound mixing editor. Whoever's put this together has really done a successful job of that. And then obviously into the trombone solo, which was so classy. Kyle did a great job there, and it wasn't just Kyle, so we had flugel interjections there as well, and it all just sounded so nice. Lovely warm tones shining throughout, and it was lovely. Slow melody playing is something that's super hard to do in brass playing, probably one of the hardest to pull off, and did a great job there. And then finally into the Los Hermanos de Bop, such a great iconic piece that you can tap your toe along to, and it's just so good, and the visuals there were supporting that. Colourful, vibrant, I liked it.
That's what we like, colourful and vibrant. And Chris, I mean, what did you think of their entire package? Impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really impressive. I must admit, at times I was thinking I was quite surprised I was watching Huddersfield, because I know over the last 10 years there have been some contest programmes they've done where they've played absolutely out of their skin, but they just haven't nailed the entertainment factor, and that's been part of the results. They've won Unibrass 2013, 2014, but the rest of the time it has almost been a sort of forever the bridesmaid, never the bride feeling, because they're always in the mix, but some years they just haven't really managed to pull off the entertainment. Now, this, they have absolutely nailed it. It was really interesting, actually, to see they're the only ones we've seen so far to have any talking in it. And I think on video, talking is absolutely as valid a way of explaining a story and doing the storytelling as on-screen graphics. It would be nice if the audio for the talking had been as crisp as it was for the playing. But it was a great way to get us involved in the programme. I loved all of the different video effects they had. I thought they worked really well for the different styles of music they had. So as a package, it was really rather good.
Fantastic, yeah. So you're getting a lot of thumbs up in the room here. Huddersfield, surely another one that has gone into the mix for this, what is becoming a very hard-fought battle for the title of University Champion. So thank you so much to Jonathan Beattie and the University of Huddersfield Brass Band, our penultimate band in the competition this evening, which means there's only one band left before we finish tonight. And band number 11, the last band, is the University of Birmingham Brass Band, obviously representing the Midlands. The musical director is Stuart Burney, and on their form, they've given a shout out to the band manager as well, Hannah Beach. Now, they tell me that their programme is a celebration of everyone's favourite city, Birmingham. Well, the YouTube chat is open, folks. And all the iconic buildings it is home to. The first piece was composed by University of Birmingham Brass Band alumni David Burney and plays homage to the rather tall clock tower at the heart of the university campus, affectionately referred to as Old Joe. Next up is Nimrod by Edward Elgar, who was the first music professor at the University of Birmingham and has several buildings named after him on campus. We'd love to be playing this piece inside our beautiful Elgar concert hall, but our living rooms will have to do for the time being. We finish by travelling to the city centre to Symphony Hall with the highly energetic Pound the Streets by Paul Lovett Cooper, who rose to prominence following the premiere of his piece Earth's Fury at the concert venue. And then in brackets, we know it's a bit of a tenuous link. They finally conclude with, many of our band currently unable to return to Birmingham. Playing these pieces are a way for us to stay connected despite being spread all over the country. It's been a challenge to record and edit alongside our degrees and without access to our usual facilities, not to mention the amount of housemates we've annoyed in the process. But we've had a great time putting these pieces together, and we hope you have a similarly great time watching them. This is the University of Birmingham Brass Band. The University of Birmingham brass band there with their musical director Stuart Burney and the band manager Hannah Beach. They're our final band in the university section here at the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. Let's go straight to some judges' feedback. Chris, what did you think of the University of Birmingham? We were kind of chatting about that just as they were coming to a close. A performance of two halves?
Well, let's go third and two-thirds, shall we? So the first piece there was absolutely, I think, one of the best performances we've heard of the night in terms of audio quality, playing quality and creativity and the use of video. It was nailed on every single one of those. Fantastic. The other two pieces, in terms of production, the video wasn't as creative as it could have been, and as you demonstrated with the first piece, which was a bit of a shame. However, I thought that with Nimrod, that's another piece that if I was doing distance banding, I'd avoid, because every conductor wants to do their own thing with particularly the climax of that piece in terms of the tempo, which you obviously can't do distance. But it held together much better than I thought it might have done. So that was very good to see. You played an old Unibrass favourite on Pound the Streets to finish there. That's quite tricky in terms of there's lots of notes on the page, and if your recording isn't spot on, those notes can sort of blend into each other. I think you suffered a little bit from that. The audio quality I don't think was as good on that, which makes it a bit harder to judge the playing ability as well. But I thought overall it was a good programme. It's just a shame that you didn't manage to keep the level from the first piece up through the second and third.
Yeah. Okay, Tom, would you agree with that?
Definitely. The first comment that I made in Old Joe, which was the first piece, was the band make a terrific sound. It was almost like listening to the band in the room. It was so clear, crystal clear, in fact. A lovely piece as well I wrote, and it definitely kept the percussion busy. But as Chris said, it just seemed that the other two pieces weren't. They didn't have the same sound quality or video editing quality that we saw in Old Joe, which was a slight shame. Shout out to Luke Barker as well. He's a lovely player, and I'm sure you heard that in the cornet solo in Nimrod. Pound the Streets as well. I think that maybe I'll surmise by saying that the last two were just a little bit scrappy in ensemble and tuning and intonation, but overall it was a well put together program, which really kind of flowed really nicely. And
do you agree that everyone's favourite city is Birmingham?
Well, mine is Sheffield, Phil, because I'm from Sheffield, but I do like to visit Birmingham at the open weekends. I'll leave it there.
And to be fair, I mean, we saw some photographs from the Birmingham campus at the beginning. That is a lovely, lovely campus, isn't it? If anyone's ever been to that Birmingham campus. So, we're sort of partially agreeing with you there. University of Birmingham Brass Band, you were our final band here this evening. What a contest it has been. Our judges are going to be sent off for their final deliberations just in a minute. But I think I would like to say, as this pandemic has gone on over the last year, one of the groups of people kind of hardest hit by the lockdowns and all the other jazz that we've had to deal with has been our university students. And it's been so difficult for you guys, especially those of you trying to start a new course last September. I mean, I can't imagine this kind of disruption and emotional roller coaster that you must have been through. So it gives me great pleasure to see 11 bands make it to the starting lineup here on the competition. And then, moreover, to do such a great job with all of those video presentations and to see you making the most of the situation. And I think we've seen 2 or 3 stunning examples here in the competition this evening. So we're thinking of you. All the best for a successful return to your universities. Let's just quickly go around the 3 judges and get a sum up for the competition. Hannah, have you enjoyed it this evening? Yeah,
it's been so great and lovely to hear everybody play. And I just want to say thank you for all the time and effort that the players, the producers, everyone's just put in, because even though you might not see it, it is really appreciated, especially from us and from everyone else that's watching.
Absolutely. Tom, your final thoughts?
Yeah, it's great to see bands playing together, even if it's socially distanced still. I teach at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama, and I know how difficult some of my students have found it over lockdown. We're talking about university students that often leave their families for the first time, move to a different city, and then they're kind of stuck in their flat for weeks and months on end. So it's been a really, really difficult time for students, I know. But I got to commend you all for putting these programs together. It's been so enjoyable to listen to this. Obviously, I was part of the online championships last year, but this is I think this has been even more enjoyable in some ways, and certainly to see so many young people, flying the flag for brass banding and having so much fun doing it. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for your attention tonight. And we'll have the final word with Chris, who's been our guest judge this evening. And as I've been saying all night, this section is partnered with Unibrass, and Chris is here representing Unibrass. You've been a brilliant judge, Chris. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic to have you here representing Unibrass. So have you enjoyed it?
Thoroughly enjoyed it, yeah. First time for me, and I'd say it's been really great experience for me, and it's been great to see all the bands. I think the creativity that has been shown, particularly by the top bands in terms of the entertainment side of things tonight, has been absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to see what those bands go on to do at next year's contest in person, because I think one thing this situation we've had over the last year has done is forced people to think about communicating in different ways with their music and with every aspect of life through video. And I'm hoping that actually some of the creative video side of things that we've seen tonight comes back in person, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens next year.
Fantastic. Yeah, great. Excellent. Well, thank you once again for joining us. It's been a great pleasure to have you. Thank you very much indeed to Unibrass for partnering with us on this university section. And indeed, thank you especially to all of the 11 bands that took part in the contest. I'm going to let the judges go now and make their decisions. As I say at the end of each of these shows, we're not going to do the results now. We're going to do the results of all of the sections at the end of our final show next Sunday, the 28th of March. So make sure that you tune in to watch not only the championship section of the contest, but also the full results ceremony when the decisions of these three judges will be known, and you'll know who has won the university section and all of the special prizes. We will be back on this same channel tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, where we will be presenting to you the first section of the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships. It's sponsored by Besson Musical Instruments, and in the judging chair we have Chris Thomas, Cory Band's principal trombone player, Simon Howell, Cory Band's principal E-flat bass player, and Helen Williams, Cory Band's flugelhorn player. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you can join us again tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, when once again we will be welcoming you to the Kapitol Cory Online Brass Band Championships 2021. Good night.